Hi, today we're going to talk about subject, verb, and object in terms of sentences. So when you look at a basic English sentence needs to have two things. Okay. If I look at this sentence, this is a complete sentence. He jumps. And what I have here is I have a subject and I also have a verb. Right. And those are two things that every sentence needs. If it doesn't have a verb and it doesn't have a subject, then it doesn't function as a sentence. Now, an object, that is something that can be there or it can't be there. And it gets a little complicated. There are direct objects, there are indirect objects, but we're going to look at your basic direct objects today. So, I say he kicks the ball. Then he, once again, is my subject because it is the person that is doing the action. Kicks is my verb, and the ball or just ball is my object. Okay. Right. Now, how do I know this? How do I know these things? How am I able to recognize them? That's what we're going to talk about today. So, the first thing is quite simple. When I want to know what the subject is, I need to have the verb first. So let's look at, okay, if I look at number one, you've got to find the verb first. So if I say that jumps is my verb, then I basically ask myself, who or what jumps? And the answer to that will be my subject. Right. And this will be true for pretty much every sentence. So the answer to that, of course, is he. So a pronoun or a noun can take that function. Right. Now I can change the sentence, and I can say John jumps. That's still the answer to that question. Who or what jumps? John jumps. So John will be my subject. It can be more than one person. I can say John and Sarah jump. And the correct answer for the subject is still who jumps? John and Sarah jump. Right. So it can be more than one person. It can also be a thing. It can be the answer to what? If I say the frog jumps, then that would still be the answer there. Who or what jumps? And there's your subject. So you always have to find the verb, and then you'll be able to answer this question, and that will tell you what the subject is. Okay. Can be a noun, it can be a person, can be a thing, and it can be a pronoun. So what about the object? Object, well, let's just do it for number two as well. Let's say Ronaldo kicks the ball. Who or what? I replace that with kicks, that's my verb. Who or what kicks? Right, and the answer would be Ronaldo. And there is my subject of the sentence. All right, so that's for number two. Now, what about the object? As you can see, sentence one doesn't have an object. Okay, just correct that. Okay, the frog jumps. There is no object. But Ronaldo kicks the ball has an object. Why? Let's see. Because for number two, you don't ask who or what kicks. You say who or what is being kicked. Okay. What thing or person is the action acting upon, not who is kicking, but what is being kicked or who is being kicked, right? And that answer will be your object, right? If there's no answer to that question, then there isn't a direct object. If I say the frog jumps, who or what is being jumped? Nothing. Okay? He just jumps. So that gives you the answer there. Now, that is, of course, what is being kicked there. But it can even be something like this. Ronaldo kicks Messi. Okay? So now I have two people. Who or what is being kicked? Messi is being kicked by Ronaldo. So Messi is your object. Okay. So that's the simple way of seeing it, but it can get a little complicated, especially if you draw the wrong conclusions, because a lot of you are thinking, oh, the subject is always in the front of the sentence. It's always going to be the first thing I see, which is not correct. And I've seen a lot of learners make that mistake. So if I say, in South Africa, people love lamb chops. Okay, so that's a bit of a stereotype there, maybe a bit of a generalization. So let us put our two questions down. To find my subject, I need to say subject will be who or what, and then the verb, right, with a question mark. Okay, whatever the verb might be there. To find my object, I need to say who or what is being verb, right? Okay, what is the verb acting on? So the first thing we need to do is find the verb. There's only one verb in this sentence. Some sentences might have more than one, and that is clearly love, right? Okay, let's color that up there too so you can see it. In South Africa, people love lamb chops. Now, let's get to the subject. So let's replace this with love and replace that with loved. Right. The object's easy. Who or what is being loved? Your object will therefore be lamb chops. Okay. Very easy. That one is simple. But the subject gets a bit more complicated. In South Africa, people love lamb chops. If you think to yourself, oh, but the first thing, the first noun in the sentence will be my subject, then let's try that. South Africa love lamb chops. That doesn't even make grammatical sense, right? So South Africa is just a place where it is happening. The real subject here is your people, okay? Because who or what loves lamb chops? The people love lamb chops, and that will be your subject. Okay, let's do a different one. Yesterday, I swam. Okay, so we put that one in past tense, make it a little different. Right, so let's follow the rules again. Okay, subject, who or what, object, or what is being. All right, and we still need to figure out what the verb is, which is quite simple. All right, what is the verb? Swam. Okay, yesterday I swam. So let's put that in there. Who or what swam and what is being swum. All right, so there is our verb, and that will help us to find your subject and your object. Now, what is the subject? They're thinking, oh, yesterday. It isn't. Yesterday can't swim. It's a time, right? Yesterday here is an adverb or an adverbial phrase, and it's just telling you when the person swam, and that's kind of important. So I'm going to scroll up here and just say that if you are answering the question when or where or why or even how, then it is not a subject or an object, okay? Because it's not the thing that is being acted on. It's also not the thing that is doing the action. Because yesterday is answering the question of when. It's not who or what swam. Okay? And I can even say something like I swam there. Right? There will not be an object because it is answering the question where. It is not answering the question of who or what. And this is the key to finding the subject and the object, is who or what. If it's not who or what, you're not going to, it's not going to help you. Okay, I can say I jumped very high. And your instinct would be to say, oh, high, that's my object. But it's not, because high is an adverb of manner. It's telling you how you jumped. It's not telling you, you can't really say what was jumped. Okay? And when you see this, you have to make sure to look for who or what. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? So if we look at yesterday I swam, yesterday is answering the question of where, but I is answering the question of who swam, right? And there's not going to be any object, because if you say I swam, well, it wouldn't really work. You wouldn't be able to put an object there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. It does get a little more complex than that, but you just have to practice it. You have to practice how to find the subject and the object. We'll do maybe a few examples just for you to practice before you get to your activities. So let's go through a few examples quickly. The lion killed his prey on the mountain. So the first thing we're going to do is, for each one of these, we will first look for the verb. Because if we cannot find the verb, then we can't find anything else by asking that who or what question. Right. So for the first one, what do you think the verb is? It is, of course, killed. Right. Second one, give you a few seconds. Swept, being the past tense of sweep. And the last one over here, or the third one over here, is tricky. See if you can figure that out. That one is loves. And then number 4, what do you think it is there? It is, of course, study. And for number 5, what do you think there? That is, of course, ran. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to look at is, do any of these have objects, and what are they? And remember, and then we'll get to the subjects, actually. Okay, so let's do the objects first. We'll reverse it a little bit. The lion killed his prey on the mountain. So look at that. So this one's a little tricky. It's a hard one to start with. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, who or what is being killed? Give you a few seconds. If you said the mountain, you're wrong. It is his prey, or just the prey, because you can't really kill a mountain. That's just a place. That answers the question of where, so that is an adverbial phrase. That's not really telling you what or who is being killed. Okay, so that one definitely has an object. Okay. Number 2, Does it have an object? And if so, what is it? Give a few seconds to think about it. Right. It is not the house. It is the dirt. Okay, so there is a thing. What is being swept? The dirt. Outside the house, again, is an adverbial phrase which tells me where the sweeping is happening. It doesn't tell me what is being swept. Okay, number 3. What is being loved, or who is being loved? Is there an object for number 3? Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, cooking cannot be an object because it's a verb, but it's not. It is an object because in this case, cooking is acting like a noun. It's a gerund, so you might say gerund, right? It is a noun. It looks like a verb, but it's not. So it is an object because what does she love? She loves cooking. It follows the rule. Okay. Number 4. In school we study. Does it have an object? And if so, what is it? Now, some of you might think, the school. It's not. Okay. In the school answers the question of where we study, so therefore that's not an object, and there's nothing else. We cannot be an object. It's literally a subject pronoun, so there is no object in that sentence. Okay. Number 5. Jack and Jill ran very fast. See if you can find an object in there. If you did find an object, you are unfortunately wrong. There is no object in here because very fast is telling me how they ran. It's not telling me what was ran. Okay, that doesn't even work, right? So that is answering the question of how. It's not answering the question of who or what, so it can't be that. Right, so 3 of these sentences have objects, direct objects, and then 2 of them don't. So now we need to find the subjects. Number 1. What is the subject? Nice and easy. Is, of course, the lion. Now, in a test or exam, if I just ask for the subject, you could write lion or the lion. You just can't write the. That's not a subject. Okay? I would take both correct, as it is simple and complex subjects, but we're not going to get into that this year. Okay. Number 2, last week my mother swept the dirt outside the house. Which one is the subject of that sentence? It is, of course, my mother, because it answers the question, who swept? Last week can't sweep. It's a time. Doesn't work. That answers the question of when, so it doesn't work. All right, number 3, my mother loves cooking. Nice and easy. There's literally only one thing left. Okay, and it is my grandmother. Now you could, of course, just say grandmother, but if you want to add the adjective, you can. You cannot say just my on its own, because it's not a noun. It can't be a subject, right? It's a possessive adjective. Okay. In school we study. What is the subject of that sentence? Now you might say school. Hopefully not by this point. The subject is we, because who studies? We study. The school doesn't study, right? Okay. Look at number 5. Jack and Jill ran very fast. Which one is the subject there? Give you a few seconds, this is a bit of a harder one. Okay, if you said Jack, you're wrong. If you said only Jill, you're wrong. You need to say Jack and Jill. Now, again, in a test or exam, I would accept both Jack, comma Jill, or Jack and Jill, as the conjunction doesn't really matter that much as long as both of them do it, right? The reason for that is if I say something like New Zealand and South Africa play a rugby match against each other, if I take out one of those subjects, the meaning of the sentence changes completely. Whereas if I say lion and I take the article away, it still has mostly the same meaning. Even if I take my mother away, say mother, still has mostly the same meaning. So you have to have both of them to be able to have the full subject there. Okay, so that's subject, verb, and object. As I say, it can get a bit more complicated, but try and follow the rules. Who or what killed, and then who or what is being killed. Okay,